Hello and welcome to Parents Guide to Games. My name is Stefan. If you could please like, share, and subscribe. Here are the games coming week of October 26, 2021. The first game on our list is L.O.L. Surprise Movie Night. This is coming to Nintendo Switch. The rating is everyone. This is an adventure game in which players perform various activities in order to become a movie star. Players can engage in several mini-games, including memory tasks, racing, and sneaking around a haunted house. And the next game on today's list is Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. This is coming on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Nintendo Switch, and PC. The rating is teen. The content descriptions: language, mild blood, mild suggestive themes, use of alcohol, and violence. This is an adventure game in which players assume the role of Peter Quill, a half-human man that travels through space along other Guardians of the Galaxy. Players explore worlds, interact with characters, and battle fantasy creatures and boss characters. Players use various types of blasters and guns and melee attacks to attack and kill aliens that sometimes explode into colorful splatters of blood. Players can also command other guardians to assist by using their swords, daggers, and explosions during combat. One cutscene depicts a character clutching a body wound. The game contains some suggestive material in the dialogue. A handful of album covers and pin-up posters depict female characters wearing revealing outfits. During one sequence, characters comment on alcohol and alcoholic beverages as they navigate a room full of drunken aliens. The words shitty and prick appear in the dialogue. Now let's head to the track with NASCAR 21 Ignition. This is coming on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. The rating is everyone. The content descriptions: alcoholic references, and mild language. This is a racing game in which players drive realistic stock cars through NASCAR events and cups. Players can also customize their cars as they participate in races around the US during the course of the game. A Dixie Vodka 400 trophy is depicted with the event logo, bottle shape, and martini glass. Accompanied song lyrics contain the words damn and references to alcohol. Next up is Super Robot Wars 30. This is coming on PC. The rating is teen. The content descriptions: fantasy violence, mild blood, mild language, partial nudity, suggestive themes. This is a strategy role-playing game in which players engage in battles using characters from several mecha animated series. Combat is turn-based, with players moving characters around a grid-like battlefield and selecting attack moves from a menu. While most attacks depict small mech suit robots shooting each other, some attacks trigger short animated sequences depicting dramatic flame attacks, lasers, sword strikes, and large explosions. One sequence briefly depicts a character in bloodstained clothing. Some female characters are depicted with low-cut outfits and deep cleavage. Camera angles sometimes linger on female characters' chests or buttocks. The dialogue also contains suggestive materials. One cutscene briefly depicts a character partially nude during a fantasy transformation scene. The word prick and pissed appear in the game. Now let's take a closer look at Age of Empires 4. This is coming on PC. The rating is teen. The content descriptions: mild blood and mild violence. This is a real-time strategy game in which players control ancient empires and civilizations through the historical battles and cultural expansion periods. From a top-down overhead perspective, players complete campaigns and command military units against rival civilizations. Players can zoom in on battles to view other soldiers using swords, spears, arrows, and animals against enemies. Combat is highlighted by frequent cries of pain, impact sounds, and weapon clashing sounds. A handful of cutscenes contain stylized depictions of violence: Joan of Arc burned at the stake, civilians fleeing from attacking soldiers. During the course of the game, hunted and slain animal carcasses appear in pink red meat. A live action video depicts a hawk briefly feeding on its prey. Now it's time to scare your pants off with Fatal Frame Maiden of Blackwater. This is coming on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Nintendo Switch, and PC. The rating is mature. The content descriptions: blood, suggestive themes, and violence. This is a survival horror game in which players investigate paranormal activities in a mountain setting. Players explore abandoned buildings and dark forests for clues while encountering ghostly apparitions. Players use old cameras to capture ghostly images and defeat attacking ghosts by taking pictures of them. Some sequences reveal the circumstances leading to the creation of the ghost: a man hanging himself, a woman impaled with a sword, a man running over by a car, a woman slashing her own throat, a character jumping to her death. A handful of ghosts are depicted with large bloodstains on their clothing and bodies. Cutscenes also depict large blood splatter effects, with the characters stabbed and impaled. Some female characters are depicted with revealing costumes with deep cleavage. In one scene, a woman's picture is taken from a first-person perspective. The camera angle becomes more suggestive as the scene progresses with the character on the bed. Now back to racing with Rider Republic. This is coming on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Google Stadia, and PC. The rating is teen, content descriptions, lyrics. This is an extreme sports racing game in which players compete in mountain biking, skiing, snowboarding, and various flying competitions. Players explore open world environments and engage in various competitions and event free-for-all trick battles, showdown sessions to earn status and gear. Some songs in the game contain references to drug and suggestive material. Now let's take a look at Roki. This is coming on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X. The rating is everyone 10 and up. The content descriptions: animated blood, fantasy violence. This is an adventure game in which players help a girl search for her missing brother. Players explore mysterious environments, interact with characters, solve puzzles, and inflict damage on monsters. A handful of sequences depict brief instances of violence: a man dying in a burning debris, a bear eating a giant spider, and one scene a blue elvian character emits black liquid from his eyes and nose. Next up is Voice of Cards: The Isle of Dragon Roars. This is coming on PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and PC. The rating is teen. The content descriptions: fantasy violence, suggestive themes. This is a card-based role-playing game in which players lead adventurers on a quest to slay a dragon. As players flip cards to trigger events, interact with characters, and battle fantasy creatures in turn-based combat. Battles are depicted slamming cards into enemy cards with impact sounds and slashing effects. Weapons or magic strikes are used on opponents, draining their life points. Some card images depict female characters and creatures in revealing outfits, a large portion of their cleavage and buttocks exposed. And the last game of today's list, making this number 10 on this list, one of the longest I've had, and thank you for staying with me, is Mario Party Superstars on Nintendo Switch. The rating is everyone. The content descriptions: mild cartoon violence. This is a collection of minigames in which players compete to earn the most stars and coins. Handful of minigames depict instances of cartoony violence, players shooting balls at one another, opponents pushing and punching characters off a platform to get them out of the way to snap a picture, characters playing a hot potato game with a whimsical bomb. Damage is indicated by blinking, comical yelps, and or dizzy stars effect. Thank you to bensound.com for the music track. Please follow Parents Guide to Games on YouTube at Parents Guide to Games, on Facebook at Parents Guide to Games, on Twitter at ParentsG2G, and email any questions or concerns at parentsg2g@gmail.com. And always, please subscribe, and thanks for watching.